This video is called Getting Sidetracked with Sidereal. Yesterday I spoke about the entry of Pluto into Aquarius, and I had many people decide yesterday that they thought it was actually entering Capricorn. And I think that is a perfect example of what is happening right now. People are looking at their little phone thing, and holding it up to the sky and saying, no, you see, the sun has entered Capricorn. That's because your phone is not looking at the actual sky. Here's your assignment. It's another test, by the way, to see if humans can actually still do magic. Here's the test. Go out at night in a clear sky, which is very difficult to come by right now because it's opaque and they're geoengineering it. But if you can actually look at the sky sim, you will see the constellations all overlap. And I want you to go out on a clear night, and I have done so virtually on every continent, including Australia, where the sky sim is quite different, and just gaze at the sky. Watch the constellations cross, and you will see all the constellations overlap each other. 500 million stars, 88 different constellations, all overlapping like this. One night I stayed up all night. I was in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, and it was in the Great Sand Dunes, so that there was nothing blocking. And what I did is I watched each constellation come over the mountain. And it was amazing because that is how in the ancient world astrologers studied astrology. They would watch each constellation, and whatever star was in each of those constellations, it would make different alignments, okay? And the many of them also overlap so wide and are so great in their span. For instance, the Great Bear in the summer. The Great Bear extends across 3 different seasonal depictions of Cancer, Leo, and Virgo. And it's all the Great Bear, okay? In August, around the 8th, it's Dubhe and Merak, the Great Bear. And so people still, I've been saying this for years now, are looking at their phones and they're believing the New Age equipment. The New Age equipment is your phone. The New Age is your phone. It's digital. And the New Age equipment is always saying that that is some kind of alignment to Sirius, which happens on July 4th and 5th. And I have said this, that whatever is called the Lion's Gate is just a rhyme with 88, because that's Dubhe and Merak, the Great Bear. So take a deep breath, all of my astrology students who got harassed yesterday for saying that Pluto had entered Aquarius. And I wrote a very specific post for you so that you can stand up for yourself. That in fact yesterday, on January 21st and 22nd, Pluto entered Cygnus the Swan. So let's argue. Can we argue about that and say that no, it's actually still in Capricorn? It's not. In fact, Pluto was at the horse's ass for quite some time. It went back and forth across Terabellum, which is the alignment with the sun on January 16th. And so Pluto was going back and forth across the horse's ass, which is called Omega Sagittarii, and it's a binary star in the rump of the archer. So in fact, everyone who has been saying Pluto is destroying the structures, they were actually at the horse's ass. So if you have eyes to see instead of looking at your phone, you would know that many of these constellations, whether it's Capricorn or Sagittarius or Ophiuchus, they're all overlapping. And I've said this before, part of Scorpio is at the beginning of Sagittarius because they overlap like this, okay? So I've explained the heart of the Scorpion, Antares, is at 7 to 9 degrees Sagittarius. Ophiuchus, of course, is in there. That's where my sun is, conjunct Ophiuchus. But this is a clock. This is a perfect clock. And so each of the houses need to be 30 degrees. And in the Hellenistic tradition, which is not Western astrology, by the way, we know that these are all seasonal depictions that have many constellations overlapping. So I've written them all out. And the other thing that I want you to do, if you're going to be a human and actually do magic and not look at your phone all the time, is I want you to use a notebook and write down all the fixed stars. So particularly for my students, write down all the fixed stars and the dates and the degree mark. So Terabellum is at 25 degrees 51 minutes Capricorn, except it's the horse's ass because it's the end of a massive constellation that goes all the way from December through January, which is the Archer. Okay, so its actual alignment with our sun is on January 16th. So everyone who's arguing about how Pluto is actually not in Capricorn, you're right, it's in the horse's ass. And you can tell I'm a little bit angry because I have been doing this for years, trying to fix the sidereal sidewalk that everyone is sidetracked on. You're totally lost, folks. So then on January 21st, actually the sun makes an alignment with Albiero, Beta Cygni. It's the Cygnus Swan constellation, which is a multiple star system in the beak of the swan. So everyone who's arguing about how your sun is not actually in Aquarius, no, you're right. It's in Cygnus the Swan. You see, because they all overlap. And the seasonal depictions have to do with the 30 degrees, 30 degrees, 30 degrees, 30 degrees. And then it goes to Altair, which is Alpha Aggia. This is the Aquarius part of the neck of the eagle. It's a single star, and that's January 22nd. So everyone who's also arguing about how Pluto has not entered whatever, no, it's entering Cygnus the Swan and the eagle, the swan and the eagle, which what? They take flight, they take off, they take air, which is ether, which is masculine, yang, fixed air. That's Hellenistic astrology because it takes off into the air, these constellations. That begins Aquarius. Okay? And then it goes back into Capricorn for a while. And that is the sea goat. So everyone who wants to argue about it, it's going from the horse's ass to the swan, to the eagle, back to the sea goat, because the stars overlap, you see? So it's actually in this constellation and that constellation. So in fact, in ready to get rid of the Wetico or the Wetico, stop being polarized by it's got to be this or it's got to be that. It's both. It's both. It's the horse's ass. It's the swan. It's the eagle. It's the sea goat. Oh, and then look, we keep going. And then on the cross quarter day, of course, it moves into Epsilon Aquarius, which is a single star in the left hand of the water bearer. So on the cross quarter day, and you know when that is, right? Because you study the stars and the heavens and the quarter days and the seasonal depictions and the solstice markers, right? Because you are a human looking at the sky, right? You're not just looking at your phone, because that's Pluto in Aquarius. This is where we're going. And the challenge, as I said, is to remain human and not become a digital device that is gullible, looking everything up on Google. So Aquarius is Epsilon Aquarii. It happens on the cross quarter day. And then guess what? We go back into Capricorn with Eta Capricorni on February 2nd, the shoulder of the sea goat. So Aquarius and the sea goat, Capricorn, overlap. You see? And sometimes they extend across 3 different signs. And then we go into another day on February 12th where you do the conjunction with Beta Aquarii, a single star in the left shoulder of the water bearer, which is actually etheric air. And then you go back to Capricorn, because Capricorn and the water bearer overlap, because the sea goat is a massive constellation that goes through more than one sign. So then you go back to Denab El Gade, which is the tail of the sea goat. So now you're on the butt of the sea goat. So by February 12th, you're on the goat's ass. So if your birthday is on February 12th, it's alignment to the tail of the sea goat. So you should be very specific about that, people, because you don't just want to say that you're an Aquarius or a Capricorn. I'm the tail of the sea goat. You see how the whole identity with what the phone says? That's Pluto and Aquarius. This is what I'm talking about, people. That's how you can tell where we are now, is the total control of the otherwise wildly eccentric Aquarian mind is being completely censored and centered on this consciousness that is based on the phone and everything that the phone says, rather than looking up and seeing. And to me, that's why the sky's opaque, because nobody's looking up there anymore. It's a consequence of your ability to interact with the hologram. If you're always looking here, well, then of course they're going to make the sky a white, opaque haze so that you can't see it, because you're only needing to see it on here. This is the exact magic that we are causing by choosing to not look at the sky and not write on pieces of paper. Because then when we get to February 21st, oh my gosh, February 21st, aren't we going into Pisces? No, we go into Pegasus. Because at the beginning of the seasonal sign depictions is something that represents a greater knowledge of what Pisces is. So it's Pegasus, a yellow and blue star in the nose of the winged horse, Pegasus. And then we go back to Aquarius. Amazing. February 22nd, we go back to the Alpha Aquarii, a pale yellow star in the right shoulder of the water bearer, which has Capricorn and the Pegasus all on top of each other. So when you use your little phone and you say, no, it's only in Capricorn, you're wrong. The phone is wrong. You got to look with your eyes, people. Don't get sidetracked on the sidereal. Okay, Hellenistic astrology is the seasonal depictions. Okay, so that's February 22nd when we go back into that. And then on February 23rd, we go into Alpha Piscis. It's the first star, 1.16 magnitude in the Southern Fish of Pisces. So February 23rd. Oh, somehow we get right back on track then, don't we? We get right back on track to Pisces at the beginning of the seasonal depiction. So everyone who's arguing that the calendar is wrong and people are reading the astrology wrong, they can't see the sky. They're not looking at the stars. And then we continue through Pisces, all the way through. And then on March 13th, oh my gosh, we come back to Pegasus again on March 13th. So we're going back and forth between Pisces, Aquarius. Now we're back into this winged horse. And so on March 13th, it's a star in the saddle of the winged horse. And then on March 19th, guess what? It's still in Pegasus, Beta Pegasi, and the leg of the winged horse. And then on March 22nd, amazing, it goes into Cetus, the sea whale, which I told you extends all the way through April 8th, where the eclipse is. That's Cetus, the sea whale. And everyone's going, how is there a sea whale in the Aries ram? No, that can't be. I'm not a sea whale. I'm not Cetus, the sea whale. And this is what's happening, folks. This is what has been going on for quite some time, is people believe their phone. You are connected to this digital lying device instead of looking at the sky yourself. So that's really the assignment. Can you look up at the stars and read the constellations and how they all overlap? Because the argument will now be, I'm not a Pisces, I'm a Pegasus. Why aren't you including Pegasus? It's just like when everyone was saying to me, why aren't you including Ophiuchus? Why don't you use the 13th sign? I do use the 13th sign. I am the 13th sign, okay? In fact, I'm going to show you my chart again because this really pisses me off, actually. And Ness is right on my north node right now. So this is the first time I have defended myself in almost a year since my website, my blogs, my credit cards, my email were all hacked. And then Lalita Astrology was taken down. A bunch of my videos are taken down. So if you don't get this, folks, you're not going to get it. You're going to be a completely gray, lightless being who looks at a phone until that phone is inside of your body, which they're already placing now. So let's just look at my chart, okay? I've showed it before. That's my chart. And at my Neptune in my second house of self-worth is Intercosmos and Astro Wizard. You want to argue with me? I have been this again and again and again. I am an astrologer. And then at my vertex in the 9th house of astrology, where my vertex is at the top of a grand trine kite, I have wisdom and Hygeia. So my ultimate purpose is to clean this shit up the best that I can. And I'm not going to do it for much longer. So I want you to know that I'm training some students right now. And if any of them are capable shamanic astrologers, I'm going to certify them, sign their piece of paper, whatever certificate they need. And they are going to be shamanic astrologers. And I'm out of here. Don't think I'm going to keep giving sessions, folks. I am training people. The other thing I want you to know is that my IC, which is at 4 degrees Aquarius, 4 degrees Aquarius. What fixed star is that? Let me go back. That is the left eye of the sea goat, but it's in Aquarius. And some people have said, Lalita, your left eye looks different. Yes, it does, because that's my IC. And guess what's there? Photographica, because I have a photographic memory and I can see the constellations inside my eye. Okay, I'm a seer. And truth. Asteroid 249521 is truth. And that's at my IC. My midheaven is Black Moon Lilith, Mahakala, and Cassandra, the oracle that no one believes. So those are my angles. In fact, I'm going to give you my ascendant. My ascendant with Jupiter conjunct the ascendant at 29 degrees. I have Eros, the original state of love, Christine, and Yeshua. That's at my ascendant. And then at my descendant at 29 degrees is Lucifer. And that is the thing. We're in this duality template. The Christ, Yeshua, Lucifer. And to me, these are the same beings. It's not this or that. That's when you get into the Wetiko. That's when you get into the argument. When you get into that kind of argument of it's got to be this or it's got to be that, it's only Capricorn. No, it's not. It's also the eagle, the swan. It's many different constellations within that. And the horse's ass at the very end of Capricorn is still the horse's ass, because that archer extends massively through the sky. You have to be able to see it. Okay, so for my clients who just got majorly harassed by the sidereal sidewalk, don't get sidetracked, because this is the original astrology. In fact, I'm going to play a short excerpt from Dr. Narco Longo, which I think means narc on people for a long time, but Dr. Narco Longo is from Old World, Florida, and he has a literal description of the doctrine or the text called the Bible. And it is a literal thing. I've written about it in my blogs. It also includes all the stargates, the gate of the gods and the gate of man, which is one of the last blogs that I wrote more than a year ago. And then my whole website got taken down because the Bible is a star map. That's what it is. And he's going to explain that the astrology is the oldest and most incredible profession that there is. And it's based on those 4 directions of the solstice. And the solstice, which I have explained, is when the sun stands still at the same elongation for 5 days on either side. And then it starts to move again. Okay. And then the equinox and the cross quarter days. And it's a perfect clock. It really is. And if you start arguing about that it's now entering this or it's now entering that, you don't realize that there are 88 different constellations that you have to see, and they're all overlapping, sometimes 3 different signs. So you can't say, oh, the Great Bear is only in August. No, it's not. And therefore, are you a Leo or a Great Bear? You're still a Leo, because that's a seasonal depiction of fixed fire. Okay, when the fire fixes itself down into the soil, that's August. And that's a seasonal depiction. And there are tons of stars in it. So let's listen to this. And the other thing about Dr. Narco Longo, I think his real name is Connor, is he says, just like Gaz, that in the Garden of Eden, what happened was they ate the wrong fucking mushroom. So he also has information on that. And he thinks it was a particular mushroom that grows in Tampa after a forest fire. Very interesting to hear his interpretation of what happened in the Garden of Eden. Let's see if I can play this for you.
Seasons, signs in the sky, but the seasons are important.
Yeah, but that's, if I can only narrow down my understanding of nature into 4 areas, I'm a little limited. 12 spokes to that wheel give me a little bit more pinpoint accuracy in understanding the times. Because why would you break down your year into 4 sectors?
Big time.
And then just leave it at winter or fall?
Course. You're just going to have quarterly meeting. Mm-hmm. You need the monthlies. Wait,
exactly.
Yeah, so that's where months come into play, right?
Now, there's a big thing I'd like to clear up. People say we're in the Gregorian calendar. Oh, our time is so wrong. We're lost.
Yeah.
We're so out of sync. We'll never get back. This is folly.
Really? Why? How?
Because there's one solar zodiac. There's one spring equinox. You can't miss that. You can't miss the solstices.
Right, they're saying we're like out of whack because they put us into some right.
Mm-hmm. We're pretty on the money. 2,000 years to an age that's about to end, about to start another 2,000 years. We're pretty on the money.
Really, with our astrological where we're at.
Our calendar is within, I think, 30 seconds of the ancient Egyptian calendar.
Gotcha.
So
we're on the money.
Other people have chosen different bodies in the sky and chosen them as the principal, timekeeping body. Like you have lunar calendars. Now, this whole month thing, people say, oh, there's supposed to be 13 months. There's only one issue with our year and calendar. It's that the word month is applied to a 30-day segment of the solar year. That's a misnomer. Month means month. Like 1 out of 10 is a tenth. So 1 month is one lunar cycle out of a lunar year.
Exactly. Month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's a month.
I've heard that before, yeah.
That's why you have Monday, it's moon day. All the days of the week come from astrology. People say, I don't believe in astrology. Yes, they do. If they get up on Monday get off on Friday, get off on work on Friday, you're living astrology, whether you like it or not.
How are those connected? Saturday, Saturn.
Mm-hmm. What's the Sabbath?
Wow.
It's Sunday.
Wait, what else? You're good at these, the etymology.
Mm-hmm.
So how is it connect? So keep going on to this, because
so we'll just real quick. There should be 13 months, but 12 solar segments to our calendar, which are going under the wrong name. You could, what do you call months in Spanish?
Months. What do I have? The conquistador. I should know. I think
Mesas.
Mes. No, mes.
That's a table.
That's a table. Oh my God, it's been a while. I haven't been.
Whatever. But
Jamie, look it up.
There's a better name out there that can be used for month. That's the only issue. The only thing I would change with our calendar. 13 lunar cycles in a year. That's 13 times 28. Perfect. 364 day year. 13 times 28. Now, the issue is that we have a solar calendar. The sun is important. More important than the moon, if I may say. And
yeah. Wait, why? Why is it more important? Because we need it more.
Yeah. Now they're both integral.
Did they come to be at the same time?
Yeah. Those things are as old as time can be. The moon is not a piece of rock from the Earth. Anyone who's telling you that is lying through their teeth. How could they ever prove that?
But some people say I've talked to some interesting people, dude. That's why I gotta ask.
NASA's given people moon rocks that were proven to be frauds later.
Dude, it's such a joke. Yeah, I agree with all. It's all lies from NASA. But my question is, some people say we've been there. We haven't been there.
No way.
We haven't gone. We're not going to Mars.
So
we're not going to Mars. No.
You go to Mars.
It's not. It's not real.
That is.
It's so great, and they're just having a nice conversations. But I need to keep going because I'm a fast talker. So, anyways, he goes on to say, Dr. Narco Longo goes on to say that astrology is the most amazing profession because astronomy, you're just simply naming objects and dating them, like Nessus and its discovery date and its size, which is irrelevant. But that it's double red, dark red, is relevant in my world. And also its meaning and its application. What is Nessus about? What can we see and observe? Astrology is a completely ancient language, and mythology is all over. You have to know what Nessus is, and the story, which I told in the Russian roulette of reincarnation. What is the whole mythology? So if you're studying astrology with me, you need to be able to draw your own chart, put in all your asteroids. You need to be able to write down all the fixed stars and understand how they overlap, and that is your assignment. And then you are to go and look in the sky before we can never see the sky again, because now it's like opaque every day here. And gaze all night long at those constellations coming over and watch how they all overlap so that you can't just look at your phone and go, oh no, Pluto has just entered Capricorn. No, it's not just entered Capricorn. It just entered the Swan, Cygnus. And when we get to what we consider Aries, it's going to enter Satis, the sea monster, the whale. And people are going, no, it's the ram. It's got to be the ram. No, these are all overlapping in seasonal constructs, of which there are 12 different 30-degree pieces. So I also want to show my astrology students a chart that a client sent to me that one of her astrologers gave to her. Look very carefully at this if you can. Let's see if I can get it. Okay. All right. Hopefully the name's not on there. And look how the wheel of the 12 different 30-degree signs some of them are larger and some of them are smaller. That never happens. That cannot happen. That does not represent that perfect 360-degree wheel that each pocket is 12 degrees with many constellations overlapping. So if you're using those Placidus intercepted house systems, you also are getting a very bad reading based on what the computer says. Okay? And that's the new AI god. So the last time we had Pluto enter Aquarius was 1778. And that's when the whole construct of one nation under God, which is AI. We did that in 1778, and a whole bunch of Capitol buildings were built in certain geometries that had snake formations or like moth formations and all of these bizarre like negative alien formations to them. That was 1778. And now it's one nation under AI, Pluto and Aquarius. It's the same thing. God, AI, Yaldabaoth. That's where we are. So you must understand that this construct here it's not this or that. God is AI. It's not God or AI. That's what this construct is. It's a demiurge inversion of AI that is upside down, backwards, a closed system. But within it, you need to be able to study the mechanics in a natural way. If you're studying on your phone, you are not going to know that many of the stars and constellations overlap and extend through 3 different signs. You have to get that, folks. The other thing I want to quickly go into is the BOG group will meet again on the 27th, and we are having some good discussions even in the chat room before talking again. But some clients who are incredibly gifted seers have come to me, and I just want to say very quickly that I've been dismissed also by thinking that we need to do soul retrieval here in the realm, where other people are speaking about, oh, we go up and you find some soul thing in some pod up there in one of the dimensions and then leave. No, honey, it's the reverse of that. You're pinned down in a pod, which is a bog in the swamp. Those bodies, and I've really looked into this now, I've read several books about it and also looked at documentaries. Those bodies are curled up in fetal position with stakes through their arms, through their knee joints, through their rib cage, and they are staked down in the bog. So for all of those people who have dismissed me and say that they can remote view and see the pod of souls, and that's what you should get, let me tell you, you're going to soul retrieval any part of you that is fractured and fragmented here as a mummy in the bog by going into the bog. And what they did was they cut people up and did it in a ritual fashion, but killed them in 3 different ways so that their body would be like decapitated, and then they would do things to their chest, which I don't even want to talk about, stab them through the heart, and then take off their hips and their genitals, and they would distribute the head and the heart and the chest cavity and then the lower part of the body in different locations, and then they would stake them down, because then you can't remember yourself, which is why I offer the sample dismemberment journey, is how to get your soul back together and remember, put your body back together. That's an incredibly important thing to do. And if you're using your access to the different realms by using your unconscious mind to see yourself in those other places, in those bogs, you will see that they have put bodies from people who are mostly from Ireland, staked down in fetal position on one of the major stargates outside of Sarasota. It's actually in the ocean on the Gulf Coast side. And then there's another one in Windover, straight across on the other side of Florida. And the bodies are staked down and they're ritually sacrificed. That's your pod. It's in the bog. So I know I was majorly dismissed by people on that other platform. I can't even think of the name of it right now, but they've just said, ignore Lolita, just get your soul part out of the pod up there in some dimension, and then you'll be able to get out of here. That's not true, folks. They're in the bog. Broken, staked down with oak tree branches and staffs down in the bog. The pod is in the bog. So it's been an interesting year for me with Nessus going over my north node. I've been accused of a lot of things. I've been hacked. My consciousness has been like held on a leash by censoring and taking down my website. And then people who are in my community have just dismissed me completely, saying she has no idea what she's talking about. Just go and get your soul part in some pod up there in the dimensions. It's in the bog. So that's what I have to say. For my astrology students, hang in there, because with Pluto and Aquarius, everyone's going to be flashing their phone around saying, no, I'm actually a Capricorn. No, you're the horse's ass. Got it? I'm sick of this shit. Don't get sidetracked with the sidereal.